Okay, need to have a little chat. So, yeah, I got some things on my mind, and I need to vent them somewhere. One thing is the state of the job market. What is going on with the economy in America is a lot of things all at one time that are culminating to everyday Joes and creating a situation where uh, a lot of people are becoming unemployable to no fault of their own because it seems to me based by my observation, that the system in which we live is uh, changing in real time faster than most people can adapt. I've been watching the trends for years and years, but the speed at which things are moving now in 20 from 2025, really from 2020 until last year, and now coming into this year, just being a complete kind of um, like an engine stall kind of situation where things have gotten to a point now where um, it's pretty rough out here. I mean, I myself am in between jobs, and I've applied and applied and applied and applied to all kinds of jobs, and I don't have a degree or anything. I've been a plumber for the last 7, 8 years. I've gotten to a point where in my personal life that I can't I can't do that level of physical work like I used to. But I'm looking for something to do in the meantime, and I'm also about to be moving. I'm moving from the state I'm in to another state. I don't really feel comfortable disclosing where I'm coming from or where I'm coming and going to and all that, but just to say that I'm getting ready to step into a situation where there are even more unknowns than there are here where I currently am, which where I currently am is a dying city. I was walking through the mall just today, and just there's more stores closed than there are open. And driving down, the city, the main city highway, there's more buildings vacant than occupied, and just the level of decay that happens so quickly when businesses leave, when uh, businesses no longer have their doors open, the way nature just takes back over an entire city block or city blocks. In the case of my town, and my city is really two cities separated by a river, so they're called like twin cities. I'm sure there's a lot of cities around the United States and elsewhere that call themselves twin cities because it's literally, if it wasn't for a river, it'd probably be one city. But uh, yeah, both sides of the river, you've got your big box stores that are still hanging on, like Walmart. Um, there's a Target. There's barely a Best Buy. I was in Best Buy earlier today, and it looks like they're getting ready to shut their doors. They got like uh, empty shelves everywhere, and that's another thing I've noticed about a lot of stores. It's a motorcycle. I don't know how well this mic filters out like external noise, but I've got my windows down, so I don't have to run the vehicle and burn gas and air condition and all that. So, but anyway, I've noticed this thing when I go into some stores, and Walmart's even guilty of this too, where like the shelves are arranged in a way to make it look like there's more there than there actually is. I don't know if you've noticed that or anywhere else, but particularly here, it's almost like people are living in this delusion where they're still trying to convince themselves that everything is okay. Excuse me. People are still trying to pretend that everything's okay. For people that still have jobs and still are, contributing members to the economic system in which they're ultimately debt slaves in, because let's face it, people are just trying to survive. So if you've got a job and it pays you enough, you can have a mortgage, you can have a car note, you got to pay insurance on everything, you got to have health insurance and all of these things, and you put yourself on so many leashes to the point where your paycheck literally is just to fund your own bondage. If you look at it in a realistic sense, your house is kind of like your personal prison. Which, I mean, traditionally, the idea was to uh, get a good job, get you a house, get married, have some kids, do this, that, and the other. But it used to be that less was more, and one salary went so much further than it does now. We're to the point in the story where both parents have to be working full time plus, and then some. The kids are being raised by the school system, and then they're going to after school care or daycare or whatever the arrangement may be, grandparents if they're lucky. But we have this uh, non non-stop non-stop hustle grind uh, uh, collective mentality of our society. Non-stop. You don't really get to rest. Even when you come home, there's so much to do because who's cleaning the house? You're already paying so much through the nose to do everything. You, I mean, I guess some of the more well-off, if there's even such thing as an upper middle class, yeah, you could probably pay somebody part-time to come clean your house a couple days a week. But for the most part, probably uh, the average family, when they get home from work, they still got to clean, they still got to cook, they still got, if they got kids and stuff, laundry's got to be done for everybody. So you don't really get to stop and breathe, much less partake in any kind of a hobby or relaxation ritual or whatever that looks like for people. And to the extent that you do try to carve out some time and take some time off, you're always going to be looking over your shoulder like, oh, what is my employer going to think? Is my boss going to have a talk with me when I get back? Like, how many times can I get away with this? How many times can I get away with taking a day to myself and just breathe and just relax and just do something that I'm interested in that satisfies my uh, need for self care, you know? So there's that. The economy, the job situation. I've been watching videos and reading about it and everything, and I'm not. A lot of people are saying this, that it's getting harder to find a job. Companies are tightening their workforce and letting fewer in, like referrals. You pretty much got to know somebody that knows somebody directly to get into the company because they're constricting so much because the labor market is so tight that employers must be scared to hire anybody. That's what I'm kind of seeing. If the job posting isn't straight up fake, and that's another thing we got to talk about. The fake job postings on these sites like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, blah blah blah, whatever XYZ recruitment AI driven online job board situations. It's become like uh uh online dating for your job. Like you're swiping for your job. You want to do this, you don't want to do that, you want to do this, and you swipe, 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 and then your resumes get put in this pile that an AI system parses through before it ever goes to a recruiter. Like you are sorted, uh, like you're not even human. Like you're just words on a page to not even be considered unless you meet a very specific type of criteria because these companies can like put so much uh like they I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's like, how are you supposed to get a job in an entry level position? So, okay, so say you're on Indeed and you see a job for entry level position. That's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to move out of construction, plumbing, all this that I've been doing. I'm trying to move back into a field that I used to study for and I used to be in school for in the IT field. And I'm trying to get an entry level help desk job or something to get my foot in the door so that I can grow, gain more certifications and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But for these entry level roles, a lot of them, you got to have a bachelor's degree. We want 3 to 5 years, sometimes more, of experience, direct relevant experience. And then they list all the little software programs and systems and uh, uh, skill sets that they prefer you to have. And then you're like, okay, is this an entry level job or is it not? No, I don't have 3 to 5 years in Microsoft Azure or cloud based computing or whatever the XYZ, but it's an entry level role that used to not require even a degree. And now the most basic, low wagey tech support job has become this elusive, uh, almost impossible thing to obtain unless you know somebody, unless you have that 3 to 5 years experience and the bachelor's degree and 100 grand in student loan debt. It's like you have to be in debt with this piece of paper that says you jump through all these hoops and then do a couple of years of unpaid internships to get this experience just to be qualified for the opportunity to be selected for an interview that may be like 2 or 3 interviews. Let's be honest. You have an initial phone screening, and then you go in for your first interview, and then a second, sometimes a third, and then the final selection for the position is made. And this process can take months, months between your first initial phone call and the last interview where you're extended a job. You could be looking at 3 to 5 months in some cases, especially if you're working for the government or the city or some federal or state agency. Like you gotta you gotta already have something going and then be ready to answer the call when they get ready, because they don't get in a hurry for sure. But I guess that's always been a thing. Uh, whether or not I ever get a state or government job is neither here nor there. But I hear the benefits are nice. But yeah, I'm just like, where are we going? Where are we heading as a country? Uh, I was just listening to a podcast the other day that said we're Trump is having talks in Geneva with Iran or something, and we're like this close to full scale all out war with Iran, and uh, they're worried about trade networks and trade routes globally shutting down, and then like the supply chain becoming interrupted to the point where food for everyday citizens is going to become harder to get. Like there's so much doom and gloom, and it feels like we're building up to this climactic uh, end goal of just total civilizational collapse um, that can no longer be sustained. And the job market, the stock market, the trade networks, and all of these embargoes and what do they call those things? Where they like go on strike against whole countries for their imports and stuff. I can't think of the word, but like, gosh, that's really bothering me now. It's on the tip of my tongue. You know what I'm talking about, though. It's where uh, Trump signs this thing where he's like, okay, we're not going to do trade with this country until they meet this, that, or the other criteria that's favorable to us, blah, blah, blah. It's like a power struggle type thing where one country imposes restrictions on another country. And from what I gathered, like, the United States has so many restrictions on so many different countries that, like, are we even doing business directly with anyone anymore? Like, what is going on with this world and our country and countries all over that's like leading us to this uh, state of decay, really, is all I can think of it. Like when I walked through the mall today and I drove down the city street and all that, the main street, whatever, that's what I imagine like the entire economy turning into slowly over time. It's just more buildings becoming unoccupied, more business moving out to larger areas, like a consolidation to the bigger cities until the bigger cities decay to the point where it's just this state of entropy where nature just takes over everything and skyscrapers just become enveloped with uh, trees and vines and like ivies and all this, like a post-apocalyptic civilizational collapse to the point where there's really nothing left, and the earth reclaims its property after the human failures have finally finished their last hurrah. And then everything just kind of goes back to a quiet, natural ecosystem. I don't know. That's a crazy radical thought, but that's kind of what the trend that I'm looking at if you measure it on a long-term enough scale, like a few businesses here and there closing, and then years later more businesses closing, and then you look you drive through town again and like more businesses are closed than are being opened, and like entire shopping centers I've seen entire shopping centers be built, brand new construction, only to never have a business occupy them. Like empty shell buildings, brand newly built, I've seen them sit for years without anything ever coming to occupy it. Not to mention the old ones, where a business that was once popular, been around for years, is all of a sudden selling out, liquidating, and shutting down. And then because they're selling and shutting down, the one next to them has to go out of business. And then somebody across the street's got to close their doors. And then it's like a daisy chain effect to where all you have left is Walmart and Target and Home Depot and McDonald's and IHOP. Who eats at IHOP anymore? And it's just big box stores, a few fast food restaurants, and maybe a Outback Steakhouse, and gas stations here and there. This video is getting up there in time, about 20 minutes. Okay, so there's that part. There's that part of my thoughts. There's that part of my critique of society. The next thing is this whole idea of biblical prophecy being fulfilled. I just got through listening to a channel called the Tyler Wood Experience, if you're familiar with that. And he's a pretty powerful voice in the Christian evangelical movement on the internet. Look him up. It's called the Tyler Wood Experience, or Encounter, the Tyler Wood Encounter. And he was saying some pretty profound things that kind of line up. Now, I've read the Bible to a certain degree, and I can see some trends that are written in there that point to uh, this apocalyptic scenario that we've got. That's being. I mean, you can't deny it. It's being talked about all over the internet. I've like YouTube channels just cropping up out of nowhere, random people from all over the country, all over the world, coming in and talking about their grief with the economy. They can't find a job. There's more and more people living out of their cars. I might be doing that soon. I'm in a Nissan Xterra. These seats lay down. I can put a sleeping bag and a pillow down in there. My house is on wheels. I just hope and pray that it keeps running. It's got almost 200,000 miles on it. But I keep the oil changed, and I check the fluids every day and all this, that, and the other, because I got to take care of what I got. I don't have a house. I don't own a home. I don't own this, that, and the other. I don't have a car note. I don't pay full coverage insurance because I am disenchanted at the modern economy and this wage slave thing we got going on with all of our employers and corporations that hire and fire people on a whim, that your job is contingent on how well you behave, this, that, and the other. You got to get along with the boss. You got to do this. You got to do that. Your emails got to be worded just like this. You got to freaking do this, that, and the other. That I don't know, man. I don't know if I can handle that. A lot of other people can't handle it either. Something's got to change. Something's got to change, or this nation and probably the whole world is headed for some really dark times. Anyway, on the Tyler Wood podcast, uh, he was talking about why do you think Hollywood and the media and all this have been portraying zombies for the last 50 years? What's all this thing about aliens? Why is uh, Obama coming on out of nowhere talking about, yeah, aliens may be real, and we might be headed to a full disclosure situation, and uh, apparently Trump's got a whole speech written about it, planned and prepared already, that he's gonna, when the time is right, is what his daughter or somebody said. Like, she got on there on his behalf or whatever and started saying, well, I don't know, maybe they're real, like, but my daddy's got a speech written and he's gonna address the world and this, that, and the other. Maybe they're real, I don't know. But I don't know. Tyler Wood was saying, yeah, we've been bombarded with zombies, Walking Dead shows, and end of the world propaganda, like Armageddon, asteroids, and apotheosis type stuff. Like, uh, it's programming. That's why they call it programming. And I kind of agree with him. I'm like, programming. If you watch something and you take it in and it absorbs into your subconscious and you internalize whatever content your algorithm feeds into your mind, you will become programmed to whatever information is being downloaded into your brain through this box. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Anybody with a phone is subject to this. You are the receiving end of a carefully crafted algorithm based on the interests that your uh, AI uh, angel, we could call it that. I know there's angels and demons. It's probably more like a demon. When you have a phone in your hand, this is the way I see it. Uh, and I don't know if anybody else can agree with this or relate to this, but you have to understand that, okay, in the world of computer programming, okay, there are these things called daemons. And what daemons do is they work under the hood of the software and the computer undercode to get things done. They're given commands based on what the program needs done. Like if you're sending an email, there to get that email from point A to point B, there are these little bitty things called daemons that operate in the shadows of the computer machine code or undercode. I don't know what else to call it. I'm not like a computer engineer, but I've read about all these things and you can look it up. Daemons, Daemon, or something like that. They handle, they're like the personal assistant to the software that the user is manipulating. When you tap send an email, there's a daemon, an email daemon or whatever, that fulfills the task of getting that text downgraded into machine code, sent across the data wires that your computer is plugged into, or your Wi-Fi signal broadcasts it to your Wi-Fi box, your modem or whatever. That modem is connected to your ISP, your internet service provider. That data goes, and at the speed of light, infinite, it gets to wherever the email gets to wherever it's going, and then the process is reversed until that raw code is brought back into the software and displayed on the screen of the person that clicks open and reads your email. That's how this works. And the email example is just one example of, you can apply that logic to anything you send or receive on the internet, including YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram posts, anything, anything on the internet that gets transmitted back and forth. And these little bitty things called daemons are manipulating data, creating, fulfilling this task, carrying out this agenda, this, that, and the other, underneath everything. Okay. So when I say your algorithm is downloading your programming based on your search history, and at this point, like your phone even listens to what you're saying. Like the other day, uh, I was in a conversation and the subject of tires came up. Like I need some new tires. I got to do the tire rotation. I got to get this, that, and the other. I got a flat tire. I don't remember, but like within the next couple of hours or days or whatever, I'm getting advertisements on my phone, scrolling through social media or whatever, about tires, Michelin. Uh, what's another? Goodyear tires, different tread depths, different styles. Off. You want all terrain. You want road, street tires. You want mud grip tires. Like what kind of tires do you want? What kind of vehicle you got? But that's not an isolated incident. That happens with all kind of things, like toothpaste. What kind of toothpaste do you want today? I've heard you talking about toothpaste. Like if you've still got half a mind of your own, and you're not completely given over to this algorithm that programs and controls everything you do with your smartphone, if you still got some agency within yourself, you have to believe that the device in your pocket, in your hand, that you call your kids with, that you text your girlfriend and your fiance, your wife with, that you call your mom with, or you know, email your boss with. these devices that are chronically connected to the internet, that deliver a nonstop flow of content that gets absorbed through your eyes and your ears. Hello? Hello? Where was I going with that? Yeah, I don't know. When I get like I have so much of this information going on throughout the day, like just rattling around in my brain, and by the time I get like this is the first video I've sat down and actually discussed this kind of thing in front of the camera. Like I'm not even looking at the camera. Like I'm not comfortable looking at the camera yet. I'm not even really comfortable talking to the camera. My hands are doing all kinds of weird, crazy things because it's nerve wracking. We've come to this point where everybody's being pushed to be a content creator. The job market is crap. If you've got a job right now, you're lucky or blessed, whatever you want to call it. Keep it, because I guarantee you that it is not as easy to get a job as it was when you got the one you have. Okay, so nobody needs to quit their job. If you got a job, you're secure in your job. If you like your job, that's you definitely are got something going on, you know, blessing wise. Like I believe most people probably do not like their job, and they only do it because they've got a brand new 60, 70-inch flat screen TV at home on credit. They've got their sound system and their Xbox. They've got their uh, Honda Civic or their Chevrolet truck. Their big vehicles in the garage, and not to mention the house. You know what? What are we doing in this society? Like we're chasing things that used to have value half a century ago that have slowly become so uh what how am I looking to like what was done to obtain. I'm not even sure how I'm trying to word this. Like we as a society can't do what we used to do with the same amount of input. The input to get the same amount of output has become so inflated. You have to do so much more to get the same output back from the system. You have to work so much harder. Your wife has to work while you work so much harder just to get the same that was once done on a single input. One 40-hour a week job used to fund an entire family's lifestyle, including the car, including a 2-week vacation every year, including extracurricular activities for your kids, including being in a good school system, including driving a nice vehicle. We're not in that world anymore. And I imagine a lot of people are exhausted at I'm exhausted. I've been applying to jobs for 2 months and I haven't gotten anything except a handful of rejection emails. But there are jobs that I've posted for that I've applied for that haven't even bothered to follow up. And I've tried to follow up, getting somebody on the phone, finding an email to a recruiter or HR manager or whoever to hire who's in charge of that. Like, good luck. I don't know how it's done anymore because AI controls everything on the internet. These job boards, some of the jobs are fake. Like I was watching a video the other day, like the jobs are fake. What is it, like 20, 30%? What the heck? So we've got a ghost job market. We've got a world teetering on uh, hell. Let's just be real. The economy is uh, crashing like a train wreck in slow motion. Uh, the Bible says we're coming into some dark times where demons and evil is going to be running rampant. Like talked about the days of Noah. Well, if you read about the days of Noah, uh, evil was in your face, in their face. So when it says the end will be like the days of Noah, really consider that. I mean, you see it. Like, what was it like? There was a girl that got her throat cut on the uh, train last year, and then Charlie Kirk, and then back to back, we're seeing a lot of things because this internet is on 24/7, and everybody has access to anything to everything all at one time. So information is circulating faster than it ever has before. Back in the 90s, you never heard, like, you watched the news. Your TV had 3 channels. You watched the news, local news or whatever. Sometimes you find a channel that give you a little national news. You didn't hear about 10 murders in Philly and this, that, and the other over here in Detroit and, over in Seattle and Portland, Oregon. Just like, no. You heard about somebody being stabbed downtown where you live. And that was like a one off situation because somebody, I mean, I don't know, like, it wasn't an everyday, all the time, constant thing. Scroll Twitter, there's just tragedy and hardship and like terrible things happening all day, every day, and it's getting heavy. And people, if I could leave you with anything, it's like you gotta really be strong. You gotta uh, watch your kids, take care of your family the best you can. If you don't have a job right now, like, I'm right there with you, buddy. Like, I don't. I'm getting ready to leave the state I'm in. I'm going to a state that I used to live in, and I'm hoping that it has a little bit more going on to where it's at least somewhat easier to find a job. Like, I'm gonna be printing off resumes and I'm gonna be going to door knock in person. I want to talk. I want to get a no from somebody face to face. I want to get no's, yes or no, right here in my face. Is what I want to hear. Like, I have applied to these jobs. I have been rejected by these jobs without any uh, feedback. Like, that's the thing. Like, you wanna have an interview, and if you're not selected, an interviewer is supposed to give you some feedback on, like, why somebody else was chosen over you. Oh, you didn't have this quite enough of the skill here. This person has got a little bit more over here. Like, those are healthy things that help people grow and mature in their career. Is that even going on anymore? Like, nowadays, like, there's okay, mass layoffs have taken place. Hundreds. I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands of people have been laid off in the last couple of years because of AI, this corporate restructure, that, like, a huge layoff. UPS is laying off. Uh, who else was laying off? Meta is laying off. They're just laying off. So many people just being laid off, and they're not really given any real reason. Oh, company restructure, and we're no longer doing this, that, and the other. We're not pursuing activities in this sector anymore, and we're just condensing, consolidating our resources in this, that, and the other. But they're ruining lives. They are. I'm just rambling at this point. I think I'm just like, there's so much going on, and this is just like an introductory video just to get what I'm thinking out there. All these things running through my mind, like economy, job market, state of the world, uh, Bible prophecy, uh, demonic activity going on. Uh, it's just it's time to talk about some things. It's time for the people who have been putting up with these things and enduring all these things. Like, I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for like insurrection or treason to their country or anything like that. But what are we going to do? We're just going to let it continue. We're gonna let all these companies destroy our lives and take everything from us as a civilization, as a society, as a people. Like, is that really the end of all things, where the technocrats and the global elite, the political rulers of the world, and the this and the that? Epstein files. Let's talk about some Epstein files, and then I gotta go. Eating babies, drinking blood, uh, vampires, real vampires. That's also going on. That's what I meant when I was talking about demonic activity. That's demonic. I don't care if you believe in God or not. You hear about some babies being killed and eaten and their blood being drank. Adrenochrome. Look up adrenochrome. It's where they scare the hell out of a kid or a baby or something, and they get adrenaline pumping through their veins, and then they kill them, and they drink their blood real quick while that adrenaline's running through there, and they're like 70, 80-year-old men getting high on adrenochrome. the blood of the innocent. A child is the picture of innocence. Like, you don't ever get more innocent than a baby or a child, someone who doesn't understand the wicked way of our world. To take that life and claim that blood. You have your reward.